As we roll into 2018, we've already had the KTM 150 for a little while and it's currently got 20 hours on the bike. It's now dripping in quite a few products. Got Boyesen water cooler, Boyesen clutch cover, ignition cover, DEP pipe with a little shorty silencer, aftermarket clamps, oversized front disc and rear disc, just to name a few. We've also been tweaking the carburettor quite a bit as well, because since the introduction of that new carburettor, things haven't been great, and it's not all, let's say it's not all been gravy. The bike's lasted well. Yes, it's had some chains and sprockets and a piston, but the clutch has held up. Most of the other hardware and parts have as well. We chose the 150 over the 125 this year. I'm not actively racing the bike, and I wanted something which would carry me over them jumps. I'd still be able to have the same level of fun as what I would on the 125. And as I'm getting a little bit older and things are developing a little bit more, i.e. my belly, I went for the 150, and it's proven to be the race weapon. You know, it is a strange class, or it's a strange bike, because it never really took off to race against the 250s like it was designed to, but it's still a very popular bike because of that extra power that you do have over the 125. A 125, yes, if you refine it and jet it and get it right, you know, it will sing straight away from the throttle. If you're not mechanically minded and you're not setting up your bike quite correctly, the 150 and the extra cc, that will still carry you. You don't have to be so precise. So you're not going to be carrying a big box of jets around with you and wondering what main jet and what pilot jet you should have, or what clip position you should be on your needle. I've found that the bikes come a little bit rich from stock. That's the 125 and the 150, but on the 150 what I've done is I've dropped the needle and I've changed the pilot jet. Also, putting the pipe on, you know, that cleaned up the carburettor quite a bit and made the bike run more efficient. You could definitely hear it, that's for certain, especially with the little shorty on. So yeah, everybody likes the sound of a two-stroke these days, and that thing definitely sings now. The bike has more torque, and the throttle connection's really good. If you've had a standard bike and you've run the standard pipe and you've been jetting up according to that, if you do put an aftermarket pipe on, because you might need to go a little bit richer, I did with the aftermarket pipe that I put on, which is obviously the DEP exhaust system. Boyesen products in the two-stroke world, there's no product quite like it, to be honest, second to none. On this bike I've got the hardware encasings for the ignition cover, and also it's not plastic, and the same on the clutch side. With the KTM clutch cover, it gets a little bit messy, to be honest, and as you can see, the Boyesen one what I have on is still kept pretty tip top. I've got the super cooler. On the standard one it's plastic, on this it's casted, and the propellers are quite a lot wider and quite a lot more to them, quite a lot more depth, so it can spin around that water a lot more. Which then obviously you have to get a bigger case, which I've got, and it's a lovely, lovely orange. The more that you can keep the engine cooler, the more horsepower that the bike will produce. My clutch has been okay, and why I haven't had to do so much rejetting, because the engine's been kept cooler. There's so many benefits to that, but one of them is preserving the engine. The clutch stays a little bit fresher, not to mention the extra horsepower that you'll gain from keeping an engine cool. ODI grips come standard on all the KTM range, so I've got ODI grips, the Emic edition on this bike, and I really rate the grips. I like the grips. With the KTM range and the Husky range, if you do want to put something different on, it's a pain, because you have to have another throttle tube. You have to go with ODI grips, otherwise you have to get another throttle tube. I've replaced the standard KTM bars with the ProTaper bars. You get comfortable with a few bars depending on the makes and models of the bikes, or even CCs that you're riding, and I feel comfortable at the moment with the ProTaper bars. I might question the oversized disc on the 150. The brakes are good on the KTM range and on the Husky range, but just having that little bit of extra stopping power, it just helps a little bit more with the play riding. You do adjust your braking. Sometimes I like to actually drag the front brake as you come into a turn. I know it sounds strange, but I have caught myself doing that a little bit, just to get that little bit of extra grip and then turn. The more braking power that you have, you don't end up dragging, you just end up touching, because obviously you're getting the same effect. I suppose in a race situation, if you do want to come down and slam it up someone on the inside, you know, then you do want that extra braking power. And let's face it, 150 and two-stroke racing is close racing. The 150 is still impressing, it's just all smiles so far.